What's going on, guys? It's not typical for me to do a video like this from scratch, but I kind of learned a new way to filter databases on a new job, and I thought just the mechanics of how this works is probably going to be super useful, so I'm going to build a template for it and show you how to do it. So here is the thing. Let's say you have some data here. Let's say it's about, it could be about anything. Let's say it's about um, I don't know. We need to think of like six different things to filter. So let's say we want to filter on the color, the price, um, color, price, um, weight. Let's see what else could we do. Function, age. One, two, five. That's five. That should be enough to get across the point. We can put some extra ones in here too, um, just so you can see. So let's say we have our database here of all this stuff, and I'll fill this in without, I won't show you or have you go through while I'm doing that, but let's say this is our data, and now we want to filter this on a whole bunch of different criteria and see what it fits. We want to see, what if the color is green, or what if the color is um, green and blue, or what if you want it to filter other stuff, but you don't care about the color? What if the price is above or below a certain level? Um, there's just a lot of stuff that, and we're going to have this so you can select the fields here, and it will automatically sort. This database could be really long, and this will allow you to adjust those quickly, and you get a nice view here of just that data. And this is a lot easier than trying to go, normally you could just highlight the rows and go filter, and you got to wade through all the stuff and check and uncheck everything and try to not miss something. It can be annoying. So there's a pass functionality here. So we're going to go color pass, price pass, weight pass, function pass, age pass. And we'll delete these extra fields for now, actually, because it's not important to describe the functionality we're doing here. So basically, in final pass, what we'll do is say if all these pass, and that means if each one has a 1 in it, it's a pass, then pass here, and then we can check this column with a regular filter function by going here, and we'll do like our color or our stuff at the top, like this, and this will be a filter function. But now instead of trying to do all this criteria within the filter function, all we do is filter. We're doing A to E is the whole database length, and we're saying filter that if K equals 1, and that's it. And K will be a simple formula that says if and this equals 1. Oh, if and this equals 1, and this equals 1, and this equals 1, and this equals 1, and this equals 1. If all that's true, then 1, otherwise blank. And we can just drag that down as far as you want, thousands of rows, whatever the case is. Good thing is now we've got a pass. Now we can go in and adjust all of the criteria in each field instead of trying to do one whole criteria like a big if statement that looks at every single data point and tries to run all. You can't do it. I've tried it with formula. I mean, it just is really, it won't work. So what you have to do is break each filtered data point down into its own row and run its passing logic through there. And by passing logic, I mean we're going to just test to see if the data point passes the filter or not. If it does, then a 1. If not, then no. And the only way a given row is going to come through is if it passes everything. So we'll get the first. So let's do like 5 here. So let's say blue, green, red, orange. We'll do a price of 5, 15, 100, 50 cents, 75 cents, 500. Let's get this all organized. Let's do weight is 3 pounds. Then you could be in whatever criteria: 4 pounds, 10 pounds, 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 15 pounds. Let's say function, it does um, cleans, cleans, no data, um, what else could we put here? I said I was going to do this, but I might as well just do it while I'm doing the video with you guys. So function, clean, clean, no data. What else could this object that we're modeling, or I mean filtering, do? Uh, Sweeps, rinse, rinse. So say those are fields. And then you can also, like if you want, you could have a validation list here. So for each of these data points, let's say it doesn't have to be, but let's say we want only certain things to be able to be populated. You could do color, red, green, blue. Let's just do the ones that are there so it's not complicated. So blue, green, red, and orange are the unique ones. So we can just highlight this whole column, go to data validation, and make it so you have to select one of those options. So now you just change these options and that will populate whatever's in your drop down. We don't need to do the first row. And there you go. And you can see if you change something here, test, it will automatically show up. There's our test. Take that back out. And so you can do that for all these. It's real simple. So I'm not going to do it for them all, but at least you can see in the video how to do it if you want to do it for the rest of these. So, and that's good so you don't mess up like naming something you don't want to. So, there's the color, price, weight, and the age. Let's say, I don't know, arbitrary. It could be in months or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's arbitrary numbers. And no data here. All right, so now we want to check if it passed. So now we got to actually build our filter. So here's our data points. Color, price, weight, function, and we'll do one above here. Age. And you can see the use. There's so many uses for this in so many different applications or whatever. Any situation where you've got data in a database and you want to easily populate a couple different things and just have that data appear. This is a smarter and a quicker, more clean way to do it than trying to do drop or filter columns and then do it that way. So let's say our color options could be, and we'll add a one here, we'll add an any here. So data validation, any, or all the way down. So there's that. So let's say we want only green to show up, only red, any. Now if we wanted multiple color selections like green or red, you'd have to add another filter here, and then in our pass function, you'd have to do if the color equals. Well, it just gets more complicated, but you have to add more passing logic. But we're not going to do multiple color types here. Well, maybe. Let me see 1 second. No, no, it's too complicated. It defeats the purpose. So we're only going to have one type of data filter for each data point. All right, so here's any price. This will just be a manual entry. We could put the criteria is going to be at least in this case, and then this will just be a value. So you could put like at least $25 or something. The weight again is just going to be an arbitrary number. Function can be a drop down, and we could have any with that. So we go data validation, function be this, and then actually let's make our function drop down. So that's cleans. We don't need to put that in. Sweeps, rinse. All right, so you got that. All right, function. There we go. And then we'll just do a all there as well. So all basically means everything passes. And then age, that's just a number again. So let's just say 20, and we'll do another at least here. All right, so now we want to be able to do all this criteria and then only have data that meets that criteria show up. So how do we do that? Well, let's see. So we need to do passing for each data point. Oh. So let's do this. So if the color passes, how do we do that? So we'll say first if we got to account for blank. So what if you have data in here and you don't know, like for a given row, you might not know the color, but you don't want that to impede this piece of this row coming through. It's just you don't know the data. Well, I'm going to build this in, and it could be anything if you just a function, but I'm going to make it if this says no data, so don't leave it blank. If you leave it blank, it won't pass, or that data point won't pass. So if you don't know, you just put in no data here. So we go if A2 equals no data, then 1. So we're passing if 1. Also, let's say it does equal something. If our color data point equals any, that means we don't care about the color, then also pass. Otherwise, check if the color matches. So if the color equals this, then 1, otherwise blank. And that is that's all you got to do. So we'll just lock our filter reference, and that should be good. Oh, what happened? Oh, whoops. Forgot if at the front. There we go. If that equals no data, then 1. Otherwise, if filter is any equals 1. Otherwise, check the color matches. If that doesn't, then blank. So we've got a 1 here. We'll drag this down just a little bit, down to 60. So right now every color matches. So let's test out our logic here, make sure it works. So let's say we change it to blue. Well, only one of them is blue, so that's the only one that matches. Let's say we don't know the color. It's blank. Well, that means it doesn't, this whole row does, or this is, the color is not going to pass. But let's now put in no data. So it means you want it to pass. You don't know the data, but you don't want that to impede it. Oh, 1's back. So now our reference works. In no data, we need to put that as a possible option here. No problem. Now we don't get that error. There we go. All right. So That's our color logic. Now we're going to do the same thing with price, but a little, not the same thing, a little bit different because it's price. So we want this to move over. We don't want our filter reference to move over. We just want that to move down. So here's our price pass. So we got if B2 equals no data pass, if the filter, and we're going C4 now, equals any, then pass, because you can still put any in here. And we'll give that an option, like if a filter is marked as any, then it will pass all for that data point. So any is the term, if you put it in here, it'll pass any for any of them. Also, if you put no data in here, it'll pass it. Otherwise, if filter C3, and move this down to C4 now, because it's the next criteria of price, and we want to say if it is at least $25, so we only want it to pass if B2 is greater than, or is, if, let's think about this, if filter, we want to switch this around, if B2 is greater than or equal to filter C4, then pass. And then we can drag that down, and you can see, oh, the $100 one passed and the $500 one passed. And why? Well, the 50 cent, the 75 cent, and the $15 and the $5 are all less than 25, so they didn't pass. Let's say we raise this, lower this to $1, at least $1. Well, now some more are passing here. And we could see, I'm sure, how this is going to progress through every single data point, and eventually you get your nice filter. All right, let's move this over to a weight. And weight is going to be the same thing. And if you want an exact match, instead of like, if I want to say only weights that equal 3 rather than are at least, and same with the other number value criteria, then you would just do if the data point here equals the filter, and then just drag that down, and it will only do exact matches. But usually the ranges are better for number values, or they're more common, so that's what I'm putting in the template. All right, so I hope I just didn't lose my audio. I really hope I didn't, because I have to redo this video. Okay, so let's do functionality. Oh wait, no, we're on weight. So we'll still do if C2 equals no data, then pass. If C5, we got to move this down, is any, then pass. C5 here. But now, and yeah, we can do greater than or equal to. And they all pass because we put, what's the weight? A 3. Let's say we put that to 50. Yeah, then only those two pass. Okay, good. Now let's do function. Now function, we're going to do the same as the color, but let's move this down. So we're now on C6 of the filter. And then we want to say if D2, instead of this being greater than or whatever, it's going to be if it equals. And we've got no, the only thing that passes is no data because we have all in there. Oh, and we also want to put, we can wrap this around the whole thing if, actually let's change this to any instead of all. Same meaning, same functionality, but we'll do all here since we already got it in. And let me undo this formula. Any. So this needs to be any. And there we go. And if any, then everything passes. Let's pick one though. Let's do cleans. So the only thing that passes are cleans, and then no data. All right, so that looks good. Let's go with age. Age is going to be similar to weight. So we go down to C7, C7, and we're going to do greater than or equal to, and I think that, right, we're doing at least, yeah, 20, so only 20 or higher will pass. These are all 20 or higher, and then no data obviously also passes. And there we have it. So right now, we have nothing that actually passes all the criteria, so nothing's going to come through on our filter. Let's change this. Let's see what's not passing. Let's try to make the first one pass. So we got to make the weight is 3. Let's make the weight over, I think it was 50, so 51. And the age over 25. There we go. So now we've got a full pass. Now look what happens. The filter, oh, there is our piece of data. Now let's say we want another one to pass. Let's say this, let's do, what's it, blue. So let's make it blue. Here, make this 150. And then we also need to pass the function. Let's say the function is we got no data, so that'll pass it. There we go. So now this blue item, that's 150, and it has all these data points. Let's see if that passes. Yep, and there it is. So that's how this whole thing works. You can obviously see all the different applications and uses, but this is one of the really beneficial things about Google Sheets that you can do with any kind of database, and using this kind of filter algorithm, you can get to a final pass that you check for, and then use that with the regular filter function, and it just drags, and you could do all kinds of filtering here, which is a lot more user friendly and looks a lot nicer than when you have like the filter on top here, which I'll leave for you. But trying to figure out, okay, I want this only if, I want to pick 10 and 15 or whatever. You don't have the ability, you'd have to do the math in your head if you wanted to pick everything like over 25 or whatever. You have to go through and manually do it. That's a lot more difficult when you're dealing with a lot of data points than just picking your filters here. So that's why it's beneficial. All right, that's all I got for you. This is smarthelping.com. If you want this template, I will sell it. It's going to be a one-time fee of $45, and I'll send it to you, no questions asked. You can fully edit it, and if you want me to help you with it, I do work at hourly rate. Right now, it's $120 an hour. So the link for that will be in the description box below. And I'll do a shout out here to my site, smarthelping.com. You can see I've got, we've got over 68 mid-level models. A lot of them are financial startup models, but we've also got a lot of like accounts receivable and payable, pipeline, scheduling, employee scheduling, Gantt schedules, budget versus actual. Got the mobile app recurring revenue here. That's a popular one. We got all kinds of models I've done over the years over here. So check it out. Here's my hourly if you want to hire me, and I'm gonna put a new blog post up about this database filter here this evening. So really, really cool stuff. This is something I just learned, how to implement, and now that I've got that technique, I think this is super powerful for doing database analysis and trying to, clean up your own databases. All right, I'll see you on the next one.